What's up, ladies and gentlemen? It's Daniel here from the Geek Speak Nation channel, and I'm here to bring you my review of the Ghostbusters.
This puppy I like to call a ghost chipper.
You truly scare me. I just want to let you know that.
I'm gonna just... Oh, it's like Mardi Gras in there.
So, 2016's Ghostbusters is directed by Paul Feig and stars Melissa McCarthy, Kristen Wiig, Kate McKinnon, and Leslie Jones as the role of the Ghostbusters this time around. And this was an interesting film. I question reviewing because there was so much controversy going into the film before it happened. Because this is one of those films where everyone had an opinion and had a definitive outlook on the film and what it was about before they had even seen it. Before they had even had any recollection of what the film was going to be, they had already hated it from the moment it was announced or loved it from the moment it was announced. And the trailers were terrible. It did not help. The marketing campaign from this film was horrible. The trailers that they released, garbage. The clips they released were micro-edited and didn't flow well, and it was just like, man, this is not looking to be very good. But I do have to say that after sitting down and watching the movie, it is okay. That's it. It's not really great or terrible. It's just in the middle. It's a very, very average film, but yet it's still an entertaining one. And my problem with people who have been talking about this film is that if I don't like this film, I'm misogynist. I'm not forward-thinking. I'm not progressive. And because of that, I cannot properly talk about this film. If I do like this film, I'm just some social justice warrior feminist who likes nothing but women taking control and things like this and all this crazy stuff that people have been saying on the internet. And just the amount of vitriol from both sides has just been ridiculous. And it's just a movie, and it doesn't warrant any of the criticisms that it's been getting. I think it's a fine film. And going into this film, I was interested in seeing it because previously, I was not a fan of Melissa McCarthy or the director Paul Feig's work. I was not a big fan of their improvisational style of comedy and how it interrupted the story flow of previously written comedy, and not all of their films really balance that well. Bridesmaids as compared to something like, I don't know, Identity Theft, even though I know, pretty sure Paul Feig wasn't involved in that. But when you juggle those types of styles, you have to be very careful about finding a balance. And the movie that struck me the most with Paul Feig finding his balance with his styles was Spy. And that was a really, really terrific film starring Melissa McCarthy in the leading role. And she did great. She took everything down a notch and really focused in developing a character and what that character had to say, and not doing all these improvisational ad-libs that were more so Melissa McCarthy's style of acting. And then Paul Feig did a really great job directing, keeping that balance, but also did some really, really fun and engaging action. He really knew how to keep the pacing going and keep things really engaging. Yet, when it comes to this film, on the other hand, it's not necessarily his direction that's the issue with keeping the balance, it's the editing. This movie is so sloppily edited together from the start of the film. It cuts to so many different angles, and it does that thing of, like, if an action happens, like someone gets thrown at a wall, you'll see someone get thrown at a wall, and then it'll show you that same action again from a different angle, but not at the point of impact, but at the point of that person being thrown. Things like that. And then cutting between obviously ad-lib dialogue and then obviously written dialogue. So someone would be like, yeah, and that's why I don't like balloons. They scare me, and I have a phobia, and I don't know what it's gonna do, and it gives me a rash. Yeah. So about the quantum physics and how we can catch ghosts, you see how that that exchange right there was completely just off-putting? That's most of the film and most of its dialogue. It switches between this improvisation from almost all the actors that is sometimes good, sometimes bad. It's about half and half. And then it goes right into like this incomprehensible jargon from Ghostbusters and about the world of ghost hunting. And it's just like, you're not doing enough to bridge that gap between, you're not meant to understand this, to, okay, we really want to explain this in a way that's fun for the audience to engage in and understand the lingo and the language. I guess they don't want you to. They want you to have that bridge and that barrier. But the conversations just get tedious after a while. When you're sitting down watching that film, it feels so much longer because people are running around in circles when it comes to their dialogue. People are getting into these conversations that trail off, go nowhere, go nowhere, go nowhere. Then they get to the point, and then it goes nowhere again, then the scene ends, and it goes to the next scene. And it's confusing, it's tedious, and it gives this chaotic nature, especially at the beginning of the film, that is completely unwarranted, and it's completely unnecessary. And it really is off-putting for me as a viewer. But it doesn't necessarily detract from the entertaining value of the film. Because that's the thing about this film. There's a lot of things I didn't really enjoy, from the way certain dialogue went in scenes to the way certain characters played out. But it was still very entertaining in the way it presented itself. It was very tongue-in-cheek. It still had fun, and it still had this crazy sense of adventure and exploration that came from the original Ghostbusters. And there were times where it felt like it was being a little bit too loyal to the original Ghostbusters, and it kind of struggled in that sense. And it just really needed to branch out and find its own. And I think it really found its own footing once the team was finally together towards the halfway, towards like the second act or so. But once the team finally came together and they started ghostbusting, that's when the film really clicked for me. And when they were working together as a team, I really, really enjoyed it. Now, when it comes to the individual Ghostbusters, it's going to become subjective on whether or not you agree or disagree with me. Because I enjoyed the characters for what they were. I understand it was like this kind of like battle between like the SNL humor and then the written character that's on the page. Melissa McCarthy does an okay job with keeping true to what her character is. But her relationship is best when she's with Kristen Wiig and they play off each other and they play off the relationship that's built up in the film and that's built up with them behind the screen. And then their relationship actually adds for some really emotional moments and some really enjoyable moments of friendship between them. But when you get into characters like Kate McKinnon's character, who's just a full-on caricature, like a full-on just like, this is not a realistic person, it's kind of jarring because everything else is trying to ground itself, but not really, and it's that imbalance, like I said before. And so Kate McKinnon's character is you're either gonna love her or you're gonna hate her. I enjoyed her and had a good time. I love Kate McKinnon on SNL, so it wasn't a problem for me to make that transition to seeing her, this type of character that she's played before, into screen. And with Leslie Jones, I kind of feel mixed about that because her performance, it's enjoyable, but she kind of gets into the like stereotype cast that she gets in the skits in SNL, where it's like, oh, she's the angry, sassy black lady who knows everything. And it's just like, okay, all right. And it kind of frustrated me that when she was first introduced in this film, that she becomes the butt of most of the jokes for a little bit. And she kind of gets ragged on along with Chris Hemsworth's character. Like, they'll be like, everyone's doing great, except Patty, Leslie Jones' character. Try a little harder, and things like that. Besides things like that, I was just like, okay. And they're like, oh, everyone here is a scientist. And Patty. And it's just like, okay, you didn't have to point it out. I get it. She's not a scientist. But we don't have to point out how dumb she is. We get it. But a character that is constantly pointed out how dumb he is Chris Hemsworth's character as the receptionist. And my God, that is one of the dumbest characters I have ever seen on a cinema screen. He plays off some really funny jokes, and it works most of the time, but like I said, it does get tedious toward the end of the film when you're dealing with it. And I know I'm saying a lot of negatives, but it's really hard to explain what makes this film so enjoyable without watching it. And that's the thing. People who are going to watch reviews are just going to be like, oh, well, that doesn't sound like a film I want to watch. It's not a bad movie. It's a good movie. I mean, this is just me breaking down the film and pointing out every single thing about the film and how it's presented as an entire package. But overall, this film is really enjoyable. And when they get to Ghostbusting, it's really fun. And it's really entertaining to watch. And they really do well with capturing the atmosphere and some of the scares that are in the film. Although they kind of do rely heavily on the boo, like the loud noise when you see an image. So it's like, is it really a jump scare? Not really. It's just the things being jarringly loud for me to enjoy and to be scared by. But besides that, guys, I think this was a really good step forward. And I would look forward to seeing more Ghostbusters films with this cast. I enjoyed the film. Yes, it has its flaws. And I think this film is going to be something that, no, this is not a film with crazy feminist the propaganda and an agenda, the force males to subject to whatever people's theories are. It's not that film. And it's not a film that's just a cash grab, really. I think they really were trying with this film, and they were throwing a lot of ideas out. Some of it worked and some of it didn't. But overall, I enjoyed the film, guys. And it's not great. It's not terrible. But either way, Ghostbusters 2016 is getting a 6 out of 10. So, have you seen Ghostbusters? No, seriously, like, have you actually seen it? If you've actually seen it, comment below and let me know what you thought about it. Did you love it? Did you hate it? And yeah, just let's try to be a little nice about it. And also, while you're down there, hit that like button if you enjoyed my review. That would be nice to help us out. And also tell your friends about this channel and tell them to subscribe to the Geek Nation, because remember, ladies and gentlemen, we're on our way to 1,000 subscribers. That's a lot of subscribers, and guys, we're almost there. We're in the 900s. That's awesome. Woo! That's really great, guys. So, as always, thank you guys so much for all the support you've given us. And remember, in the comment section, let's have a positive discussion about the films that we are, or any topics that's going on, guys. And don't forget to listen to the Weekly Geekly podcast, which the new segment should be up today if this is posting on Monday. Maybe I got lazy, and you're watching this on an entirely different day than when it was supposed to be posted. I don't know. But either way, guys, thank you so much. I've been Daniel, and don't forget to get geeky.